All right. Welcome back, everybody. It's the World Team League. We've got Basilisks, Reynor starting off for Basilisk in the bottom left side. His teammates Serral and Trigger waiting in the wings. In the top right side, we've got Ryung for ONSYDE. His teammates Solar and Maru waiting in the wings. Now, Ryung being the weakest player on ONSYDE, going up against Reynor, who is, of course, probably the second best player in that Basilisk lineup. It's a hard match for Ryung. Remember, it's an overall best-of-7 format for the team. Each players, they play 2 games against their opponent. Next 2 players play 2 games. Next players play 2 games. Now, if it ties up 3 wins each, it will revive a player. And that's almost certainly Serral for the Zerg team, the Basilisk team. But it could be Solar for ONSYDE, because Solar's been doing really well versus Serral. So if it gets to that revival match, I definitely feel like if Serral goes out, he's going to have a very clear plan on how to deal with Solar. And that is why they might even bring Reynor out if he's more confident in ZVZ right now. Now, obviously, that is far in the future. Basilisk is generally slightly favored in this match, but it all varies. I mean, Ryung, if he takes a map off Reynor, that's a win. Likewise, if Trigger takes a map off whoever he plays, that's a massive victory for him as well. So if you're one of the weaker players and you can take even a map out of the 2 maps, that's great for your team. But then on the other hand, who the hell beats Serral? Who the hell beats, beats Maru? Is it going to be the Serral versus Maru match? We'll have to wait and see. 4 Marines are here. Overlord is on the high ground. Barracks comes over. And nice denial on the Overlord. So Ryung is hiding what he's up to. Now, Ryung is a very sneaky Terran. He's usually quite technical in terms of his build orders, but his multitasking, his micro are not as good as some of the other Terrans. So usually when I look at his styles, there's a lot of 3-base timing attacks, really crisp build orders that just hit like a brick. But if a Zerg like Reynor just keeps expanding along the edges, giving up bases where he needs to, counter-attacking, and just forcing a lot of interaction and back and forth, he is on a higher level than Ryung. But if Ryung can surprise him with a timing attack well enough, just get in, do a bunch of damage, he can definitely wipe Reynor off the map. Reynor on 35 workers, he's gone for a very standard build order. Link speed's kicked in, 3 queens are out. 3 more queens are producing now. Started all of those at about 3 minutes 20. And he's going to go roaches behind this. Okay, so Reynor wants to play that very safe roach opening. Not a bad way to play. Zergling Scout tries to get in. 4 Marines constantly denying that. Oh, great link positioning. Gets a Hellion for a Zergling. And Ryung has to back off. Banshee is under production with Cloak and a second barracks on the way. Okay. All right. And he's using his factory to build a reactor, which means a 3rd barracks will go on that. The factory will lift off, go on the tech lab for the starport. Starport will probably build itself a new reactor. This is going to be 2 Banshee into 2 base all in. Engineering bay as well. 3rd command center is going to be incredibly late for Ryung. He is looking to kill Reynor with a 2-base timing attack. And this is exactly what you expect from Ryung. I mean, I've seen him take Dark, Reynor, so many guys to the limit. I just feel like they have a habit of wriggling out from under his boot. You know, he gets in a good position, and then they start doing those incredibly, high-level micro interactions. Things like Roaches and Ravages as well. Kind of hard counter a 2-base Marine tank push. But as I say that, a 3rd command center comes down. So this is not a 2-base all-in. It is a heavy 2-base pressure in that he's going to have 3 barracks pumping Marines reasonably early. But you can see he is cutting the occasional Marine to queue up the 3rd command center, to squeeze in SCVs. And so it is a kind of mix and match build. Ryung's playing heavy pressure, but it does have an economic follow-up. Blair's on the way there. It's a reasonably timed Blair, just after 5 minutes, but I think it'll get up just in time to make overseers for these 2 Banshees. Creep Tumor on the north, all 3 there. 3 active tumors in the middle lane, 1 there, and 2 on the bottom. Reynor's creep spread's out of control already. Ryung's like, oh man, it's already out here. I gotta do something to slow this creep spread down. He's not scanning just yet. He has cloaked the Banshees. There are spores in each base, but these queens are in the open, and there are rallying drones. Ryung not showing himself yet. Reynor's seen it. Reynor knows they're there. Okay, interesting angling. Grabs 2 drones in that direction. Reynor noticed he's re-rallied his drones to their own hatchery mineral lines. He doesn't want drones in the open area in between where they can get picked off. So far, 4 drones, not too bad for Ryung. But he's out of energy on one of those Banshees, so he has to just pull back and, oh, he's not watching. Mate. No, you gotta hide in the corner. Oh, Ryung. Oh, that's a silly way to lose a Banshee, that is. Now moves it down into the corner and it's just surviving there. Double drop coming in pretty quickly behind this. He wants to go double drop in the main. Work that triangle. Pick up, do damage here. Hit the drones from the high ground. Drop on the low ground. Move around. Though the spores are going to limit his ability to really get that much done. If he can hide the fact that he's got a third command center for a while as well, Reynor will be very scared and will just be massing roaches. I say that. Reynor's already on 71 drones. The man's a psychopath. Roach speed has just started. Double drop coming into the main base. Reynor has 10 roaches, 9 queens. They will move down here. He's already got a roach and a queen in position. Great pullback and transfuse there from Reynor. Queen on the bottom will go down. Oh, transfuses save her. Very nice play. And he's coming forward. The Banshee's going to sneak on out of this base. Already has an infestation pit on the way. Reynor definitely would expect to see Ling speed in a moment. He's going to go 10 more drones? Oh, he must have seen the third base floating out. If he didn't see the third base floating out and he's going 10 more drones, Reynor's actually a psychopath who just deserves to lose due to his disgusting greed. I've talked about Reynor's disgusting greed in the past. I'd say 1 in 4 games it gets him in trouble, but the rest of them he just gets big leads off it. So, you know, hey, if you're getting ahead, keep on doing it. He's actually not made Ling speed. He might play Lurker Viper. If you get Lurkers out quickly enough, they're very powerful. Yeah, he starts a Hydra Den. Reynor's going to play for a Lurker timing. This is so scary for Ryung. Ryung's trying to go second, Engineering Bay, Armory, 3 more barracks. He's building tanks one at a time right now. I mean, there's a way if he can take a good fight, he can find a way to make something happen. But so far, he's just not really slowed Reynor down. He's committed hard to the heavy pressure and not found any value from it. Reynor's on 8 gases now. Reynor's squeezing an Infestor out. He's going to drop a Lurker Den momentarily. He's cleaning up 3 Marines here. Ryung messing up and not picking those units up. Gets rid of a few of these creep tumors, but man, look how far forward this is. Reynor's creep is actually unfair. This is disgusting. Look at this. He's got creep all over the map. It's pushing forward towards the ramp of the Terran player. And this is why Reynor is so stressful to play against, because the moment you give him any room to breathe, he just covers the map in creep. 2 more Infestors coming out, guys. It's going to be 3 Infestors in total. Lurker Den is on the way. That'll be ready not too long after the hive is finished. And Ryung's going to get ready for a big 8 racks push. He does not have a 4th command center, so he's got to go for the aggression. But it doesn't feel like he's ready to do that for another minute. And by that time, Lurkers and Vipers are out, which pretty much counters his entire army. Marines will go down for the Lurkers. Vipers should clear the tanks. Oh! He did throw both Fungals at once, which is a bit of a mistake there for Reynor. But nonetheless, caught quite a few of those Marines, and the units lost tab 2-1 in favor of Zerg. Oh man, Terran's meant to be the one who's ahead of the units lost tab. Being ahead 2-1 in favor of Zerg, very bad for the Terran player. Double drop in the south, still fishing. Plenty of queens nearby. Lots of transfuses there as well. Viper's building. Seismic Spines on the way. Adaptive Talons coming in behind it, as well as Burrow. Now, Lurkers might not be the best endgame tool, but against the Terran on only 3 command centers, they are more than good enough. Oh! Oh my god, they're both just looking at each other. Both caught not looking. He throws a couple of panic Fungals, does Reynor. Roaches are going to try and force the siege. He needs to get out of there. Reynor cannot win this fight, I don't think. He pulls back. Ryung does not siege up. Reynor's just trying to scare him into sieging, but he won't take the bait. Queens should take out that Banshee. There we go. Nicely done. More roaches are building. There's no Hydras, so even though the Lurker upgrades are kicking in, he doesn't actually have any of those just yet. It's kind of the right time for Ryung to be fighting. I mean, Reynor has so much more money. I can't imagine him losing here, but he may have to counterattack with roaches. Right now, Ryung is rallying to the front. If he just sends 20 roaches around the right and starts cutting off the reinforce, it's going to be really hard. And the problem is, where are those Vipers and Lurkers? So he's got 3 Hydras building now. I mean, there's no way Ryung gets deep enough to really do damage, right? The Vipers are going to be so brutal. There's a few Lings being mixed in. Not for their damage, they're just there to absorb tank shots. Fungals from the south come in on those Marines. But the Medivacs will heal that up. If you're not able to immediately jump on those Marines, the Fungals actually, remember, it's more of a disable than it is a damage dealer in general. Only doing 25 damage these days. And Medivac healing, of course, outscaling that quite rapidly. Big tank Liberator spread. You can't let Ryung rally to the front. Ryung is known for setting up perfect frontal pushes. You cannot let him rally across the map like this. Yet Reynor's letting him do it. He's finally got some Lurkers out. Okay, the Lurkers might be able to stabilize. Ryung setting up a pretty good angle. I think Reynor's in a good enough position to hold, but it's still so close. He's going to go for it. Blinding Cloud on some of these front tanks. Roach, Ravager, Hydra runs forward. Biles down one of the Medivacs. The Liberator did not get hit by the Bio, though. Queens are starting to get taken out on the way forward. The Bio up top going to stim back to safety. Ravagers take out yet another siege tank. Those Vipers need to start harpooning, but he lost one of his Vipers. Ryung, very good at focus firing Vipers. Harpoons one of those Liberators into its death. Dude, he's starting to trade quite well as Ryung right now. Remember, he was down 2-1 bind. The Roaches are going in for a run by, but it's only 9 Roaches. That's not a problem. The rally of units can deal with that. You cannot be letting Ryung set up a forward position with his tanks like this. This is a big mistake for Reynor. I really feel he needed to counterattack earlier because this positioning for Ryung, he's so good at setting up the frontal pushes. Oh my god, Blinding Cloud's coming down, but there's no Roach Hydra to deal with the actual army. This ledge is a death zone. Reynor needs to abandon this base. His Roaches on the counterattack, clean up some of the bio. They're going to get in on the economy. But remember, it's a 3-base Zerg. Ryung does not care about economy. He cares about winning the game. Remember what I said earlier, you need to be ready for his fierce timing pushes that come in on one direction, and you need to buy time, give up bases, and counterattack. But Ryung realizes that's his weak spot. He splits a drop to the north, catches the drones up there, gets 18 worker kills, and another hatchery denied. And Reynor is for all intensive purposes, set back to 3 bases. This base is isolated. He can't send drones there. He's on Roaches. He doesn't have that many Lurkers. He needs more Vipers. Against this style, you actually want to get like 4 or 5 Vipers. You want to abduct all the siege tanks. Without the tanks, your Lurkers reign supreme. But he's doing such a good job of spreading the tanks, and you've got to find ways to start abducting those bad boys. Move your Lurkers forward and start abducting. There we go. Nice abduct on one of the tanks, but he needs a lot more where that came from. Ryung putting up an impressive fight. This early game was terrible for him. It was fantastic for Reynor. Reynor's splitting his army up right now. I like that idea. You got to make this a little bit messier. Really test Ryung's multitasking, his positioning. Ryung's aware that there's a big counterattack coming across the map. He's got a lot of units at home. He's bringing his whole army back. Oh. Oh, the Lurkers! Reynor accidentally let off a warning shot. He pressed hold fire too late, but Ryung was not watching. He was distracted by the Roaches up north. He moves his army into the spines and gets it wrecked. I apologize for going silent there. I was kind of confused because one Lurker fired, and then they all stopped firing. But that was because Reynor activated the hold fire command half a second too late, and yet Ryung did not pick up on it despite that. Now we see, when he's got forward positioning, Lurker versus tank is much like Terran versus Terran. It's all about positioning, and that is not enough units to hold that position. The Roach Lurker on the north gets broken. Oh, that's a good fight for Ryung. Very good fight for Ryung. On the south, though, Hydra Lurker coming in, takes out a tank. Hydras take out the Liberators. Command center. Oh, he's going to focus the command center. If he focuses the command center, that'd be big, but the Hydras are on move command. He does not click the command center. A missed opportunity for Reynor there. Now, Reynor's back up to 74 workers, but does he have anything on the north to defend? The answer is no. And this is the heart of his economy, exposed right now. Luckily, his drones aren't there, but he doesn't have enough units there to defend, and that's a problem. Lurkers are still denying this base on the bottom. Should just be retreating those slowly and steadily. But in the north, he loses a hatchery. Reynor's got this hatchery coming up. That one's still healthy. This one's rebuilt. He's transferring drones to the bottom. Reynor lacks all the creep spread from the earlier parts of the game. Oh, I do love that. Just reburrowing to be a bit of a D-bag. And Ryung does maybe not have the scans to deal with it. It's also not repaired that command center. He's only on 51 workers. He's only on 2-2. As I said, Ryung is a timing attack man. He is not going to play a long, slow late game. He wants to get you with one big, slow, methodical push. And this is something I've taught Terran players to do for a long time. When you get to the very top Zergs in the world, though, they're so good at just surviving and bouncing back and moving around the other sides of the map. Lurkers coming forward. Ooh, one of them does go down. Oh, Marauders gunning down all 4 Lurkers with very few losses. But Fungal Lurker attacking on the front. Blinding Clouds on the tanks. Reynor got wrecked on the bottom, but he is absolutely annihilating the top. Whoa, 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 whoa. Very nice there. Reynor, man, he got way ahead early. Lost the advantage from Ryung's push, but he has brought it back in his favor. Ryung is only on 41 workers. He's still got a big army, but there's 3-3 now done for Zerg. A double upgrade advantage, which means even the Roaches and Hydras on their own are doing okay at fighting. He still doesn't have Hydra upgrades, actually, so he's got to stop building too many Hydras. These Hydras don't have move speed or range. So even though they've got 3-3, they're the best upgraded, worst upgraded Hydras. He realizes and queues those upgrades up right now. It's a very Reynor thing. Lurker only gets 1 shot off. Doesn't get much damage done. A lot of these individual Lurkers have been picked off on their own. 13 Lurkers going down in this game. Ryung struggling to remax, not rebuilding workers. He's just saying, if I can just make enough Marauders, I can do this. He's got 24 Marauders. You gotta be very careful with Marauder heavy armies. Remember that they use 20 hit points per stim. It's incredibly heavy on your medevac energy trying to heal up an entire army of stim Marauders. Vipers coming in, Ducks and Blinding Clouds, tanks and libs taken out of it. There are a lot of lurkers in the mix. No scans going down for Ryung. And Reynor coming in from the north as well. Very nice play for Reynor. A scary moment in the mid game. Got to respect those pushes from Ryung, but the favorite does take game one. All right. Down here in the bottom right side, Reynor started off this series very well, but he's going on to a very Terran-friendly map, Oceanborn. I say it's very Terran-friendly. I mean, it's small. Like, I feel like the pushes come across this map pretty hard. That being said, I haven't actually watched a lot of high-level Zerg vs. Terran, so I am curious how all these different ledges and areas get exploited. Ryung going for the low-ground depot into gas first. Okie dokie, man's going for a quick factory. So he's going to get a Marine or two out to deny the Overlord, go for a quick factory. Battlecruiser all-in actually springs to mind, or one base all-in. Like, one base Hellbat, but he thinks you've expanded because you deny his Overlord. That's actually a way you can... Reynor's the kind of guy who will just keep droning without actually checking if you have a command center. Yeah, there's a world where you kill Reynor with like a one base, two factory Cyclone Hellion all in or something silly like that. It's desperate, and especially when he's going gas pool, it doesn't seem very likely, but we'll see how it goes. Drone's going to move down to the natural. He's going to go for the hatchery at about 1:20. Not too bad there. Pretty standard stuff. So he was expecting a 2-Rax Reaper opening potentially, I think, which is why he's gone for this. On this map, I don't know if the Reaper openings are really that strong because there's not really any ledges for them to jump up and down. Like, there's actually nowhere to hide those Reapers on the map. You can jump up and down here, and that's it. I guess over here as well, there's another... Oh, I guess that ledge maybe causes issues. Actually, I don't even know if you can jump up and down. I think you can. I'm pretty sure you can jump up and down here. I could be wrong on that. That kind of looks like unpassable flowers, actually. Pig's a simpleton. I totally have played these maps a lot, guys. I've actually been playing a fair bit. Still don't know where all the Reaper ledges are. Overlord coming forward. There is going to be Command Center into Factory. It's actually a Reaper opening, interestingly. Overlord does not scout for that. Now, that is a clearly late Reaper. Does Reynor pick up on that? Because if you realize that's a late Reaper, that's the thing. Now, Reynor should definitely, after seeing the Reaper go in with his Overlord, to not do that is, in my opinion, missing very valuable scouting info. Because this could be a 2-Rax Reaper, it could be a 3-Rax Reaper. I guess he's just saying, hey, I don't see a second Reaper, therefore it's not that. But I am surprised he's not poking in and seeing the add-ons in the buildings. Anyways, only single gas for Ryung. Offer gas first. You can do very heavy pressure with Hellions diving across the map. Ooh, hatchery in the face of the Reaper. Nicely done. Nice little surround there for Reynor. Yeah, you can go heavy Hellion aggression and also build a third command center. You just need to delay your second gas for a very long time. So you can see his first 2 Hellions are going to start. With a 3 command center build, normally you start your first 2 Hellions at about 316. These are starting at 253. That's about a 20-second lead, you know, 23 seconds. That's pretty damn big. That being said, Reynor has a very fast link speed, so he's completely ready in that regard. But he's actually going for a 12 Zergling pressure. So he's trying to push the Reaper away. He's sneaking his Zerglings past up there right now. And he's like, haha, I'll do a run by. But he sees the Hellions coming. So he's going to have to steer around them and then attack the reactor. But he needs to go in right now, or he's not going to be able to get much done. He's building 6 more Lings to try and defend at home. He's only got 2 Queens right now. Those Zerglings this early are very expensive, and the fact that he's doing this against a wall-off build is really quite bad. This build is designed to counter a player who walled off on the high ground, and you meant to get these SCVs and these mule kills. He should have gone for the reactor. That's the high-value target, but he's not doing it. The SCVs can repair the depot. Now he's going for the reactor, but it's very expensive if he wants to commit to that, and he's going to try to back away. So far, though, all he does is kill a tech lab, force a bit of lost mining time, and his opening has sucked. His creep spread is terrible because he's gone for this, and he doesn't really have any gas, so he can't go roaches against the Cyclone Hellion. He's going to have to do this with just Queens and Zerglings, and yet they're stuck on even workers. So Reynor, not scouting with his Overlord, and his opening comes out for the worst. Ryung, he's got a 3rd command center build. He's probably going to go for another one of those very heavy 3-base timing attacks, if I had to guess. Oh, he traps all the Zerglings as well. Look at that. He's like, yeah, man, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Reynor's going to try because he's a very, very fast, micro-oriented player. But the Hellion Cyclone ain't going to let him get out of there. A single Zergling can go home to tell of his plight. He's massing Zerglings right now. He's down 3 workers. He needs to get a sneaky surround. I like that he's splitting these lings off so he can come in from 2 sides. Notice he's got control group 2 and control group 4. 4 flanks in from behind. 2 comes in from the front. He's going for the giant surround. That's a pretty good surround. Oh, Ryung's trying to get out of it. Oh, good surround for Reynor. Okay. This was a big gamble. If he didn't get that surround, if Reynor kind of got wind of what was happening, or if Ryung, sorry, got wind of what was happening and kept his units alive, Reynor was just behind in economy. But because he's got a good trade and he's really shut down Ryung's map presence, I think that's fantastic. And the Hellions, they'll kill a couple Zerglings here, but notice he's even rotating some of the weak Zerglings away from this. And he gets rid of Stim. Delays that by about a minute because you've got to rebuild the tech lab. That takes 18 seconds and then restart Stim. Just about 35 seconds done. More Hellions building as well as 4 more barracks behind this. Ryung up to 45 workers. Reynor recovering his economy now. He's on 52 workers and he's taking a 4th base at the front. An 8th queen does pop out behind this. 1 in the main, 1 in the natural, 1 in the 3rd. And of course those 5 queens on front. Ryung does need to start an armory soon if he wants to get 2-2 on time. His starport's only now begun. He's building a lot of Hellions. He's going to 8 Hellions again. Even after losing 6 Hellions and 2 Cyclones. It almost feels like a mech build. You see all these Hellions, you're going to be like, whoa. Be funny if Reynor sees all these Hellions and then builds a Roach Warren thinking, hey, this is mech. Armory coming in at a pretty good time. That's going to allow the 2-2 to start super crisp. Evo chambers haven't even started for Reynor. Reynor may have got a good surround of those units. He's got good creep coming out to capitalize on it. But he's got to be so afraid of the upgrades. I think Reynor's forgotten his Evo chambers, guys. Okay, there we go. Whew. 6:30 is a very late timing for those. I do think his numbers are going to be amazing enough. It really might not matter. But income-wise, I mean, if we look at the income tab, you can see that Ryung has actually been ahead on income for most of this game. That's not a good sign for the Zerg. That is not a good sign. If Reynor's going to need to pop up at least another 10 or 15 workers, I guess, just to match Ryung. And he's so far behind on the upgrades. He still hasn't started his 1-1. Evo chambers are ready. Reynor needs to get a move on with this tech. There we go. 1-1 starting. So his 1-1 will at least finish before 2-2. But basically, this locks in Ryung on a double upgrade advantage for the next, like, 4 or 5 minutes of this game, which is very big. 3 barracks building, so it's going to be an 8 barracks, single factory, just biomine play. Now, biomine on 8 racks is actually not a bad style. It's hard to push in the front door, but you can multi-prong like a beast. You can hit the top, hit the bottom, drop in the main, and I think Ryung's going to be looking to do that. The scary thing about playing that style here is you're playing against Reynor, one of the fastest people out there. He's very good at handling 2- and 3-pronged aggression. You know, we've seen Cure try and take down Reynor at Gamers 8 with just, like, out multitasking. And it's just not generally a winning strategy against someone as fast as Reynor. He loves fast, movement-focused games, and it feels like it almost powers him up. Whereas we've seen Reynor play way below his skill level against Maru. When Maru frustrates him, Maru just turtles really well, plays super defensive, doesn't even try to make any aggressive plays past the early game. And you can see Reynor get visibly frustrated and start to kind of misplay and start making weird calls. 5th base on the bottom, Marines come in. Banelings are close enough, nice hot pickup. Infestation Pet's on the way for Reynor. He's got a nice run by ready on the north. No sign of a 4th command center. This is the one weakness I would say of Ryung, is that he is predictable at going for giant 3-base timings. That being said, he's had the income lead for most of this game. Yes, he's down 15 workers now, and Reynor is finally starting to mine a good 700 or so minerals more a minute. But the push is about to come. Now, I'm surprised Ryung is doing this. It looks like as a one-directional push. He's also keeping these Hellions in Hellion form. Is he going to do a Biomine Parade push with Hellions to shoot down Zerglings? Okay, no, he's going to morph into Hellbats. That would be very fancy micro. But Ryung's going to keep it simple. That's a lot of Banelings. He's got to spread like mad. Ryung is so clumped up right now, but he's got a lot of Marauders in the mix with a concussive 2-2 verse 1-1 upgrades. A few Banelings roll in. He needs so many Banelings to clear this army. Reynor needs to buy time. He doesn't have any gas in the bank, though. His queens are starting to fall. He's going to have to push this army back. Ryung pushing forward so aggressively. Oh, great spready on the Banelings, though. Only going in a few at a time. Those Widow Mines are causing problems. Oh, that Widow Mine got a huge hit. Reynor, he doesn't have many Banelings and Zerglings left. He has to pull back. The Queens take out a few of the medevacs. There's a lot of bio right behind this. Ryung with a fearsome push, doing very well. Banelings just rolled in and cleared out that third mineral line. The Zerglings came in a little bit behind that. Banelings are rolling in, but the spreadies are good deep on creep. Ryung does not care. Ryung says, creep spread, schmeep spread, you idiot. I don't care about going on the purple carpet because my spreads are good, my micro is good, and my numbers are insurmountable. He's at triple the army supply right now. There are Banelings morphing inside his main, and he's handling that as well. Yes, he's only on 50 workers, but if you're playing a 3-base all-in, you do not care. He shoved forward with such commitment, such decisiveness. I gotta watch those last few fights again. What the hell, man? The way he shoves his army that deep on creep in a clump, he just has faith in his ability to stim, spread, and reactively deal with it. I almost feel like maybe Reynor should have engaged immediately to kind of force him to siege up here. Because look how far forward Ryung gets before having to really start to burrow his Widow Mines in any decent number and spread his units. And notice he starts kind of getting the Marauders in front, spreading some Marines to the left. And he's really good at kind of pulling back, lets the Widow Mines get a few shots off. And watch it, this Widow Mine here gets a massive shot. Notice this Zergling here. So it winds up on the Zergling, takes out a lot of Banelings. The Marines pull to the left, and there's just not enough Banelings left now. There's so much firepower. What a decisive game. And Ryung, as the weakest player on ONSYDE, no offense to him, he's a fantastic player, but when the teammates with Solar and Maru, if you take even a single map off a guy like Reynor, you're already putting in massive work for your team. Well played by Ryung, ONSYDE, and Basilisk tied up 1-1. All right, going into the next match, we've got ONSYDE Gaming Solar in the top right and Trigger for Basilisk in the bottom left. Trigger is the weakest player on Basilisk, and Solar is one of the top 2 players on ONSYDE. So definitely a massive underdog. He sees no expansion, and he's got to realize this is a gold base on the hatchery first. Very common build in Korea right now. Let's see what Trigger has in mind to punish it. Man's thinking about a 1-base proxy. No, he's just scouting for hatcheries. Oh, Trigger was not expecting the gold base. He's surprised. Oh no, he's still thinking this might be a 12 pool. So Trigger has not figured this out very early. As he sees this, he should be like, you went gold base, didn't you? I imagine he'll click it down here somewhere, this probe, just to confirm. And he still hasn't. Where is he going with that probe? Maybe he's going home or something, but definitely should be figuring things out. And once he sees those minerals are open, he'll realize, okay, you've taken the gold. Now he's going to go for his own Nexus at home. Keep in mind, it's a best of 7 tied up 1-1. Reynor was kind of supposed to 2-0 Ryung, and this puts Basilisk in dicey waters because Solar is a massive favorite, reigning GSL champion, arguably stronger than Maru right now in terms of form. Even though if you put them head-to-head, I'd still bet on Maru just because he always has Solar's number. I really feel like this is a terribly difficult match for Trigger. It's PvZ. We've seen Trigger punch up in PvT and PvP. We haven't seen him punch up against the top Zergs very often. I would say there's like a next level of planning, build orders, and just execution under pressure you need to be able to take down a guy like Solar. Especially in this matchup where Solar is a specialist. He will swarm you. There's so many attacks he can throw your way. Worrying about those is one thing, let alone dealing with a gold base at the start of the series. Now, don't get me wrong. That's why everything's terrible for Trigger. On the other hand, if he wins a single game, I'd say it's even more of an upset than Ryung winning a game versus Reynor. And it's something to be super proud of. So it's actually going to be massive if he can just win a single map, this one or the next. Always going to be 2 games, no matter what. And this means, by the way, get excited because Serral and Maru are waiting in the wings for the 3rd best of 2 set. If Solar wins 2-0 though, Maru will basically have 2 chances to win a single map against Serral. And it's going to be Basilisk saying, Serral, could you win 2 games in a row, force the revival ace match, revive, and then win a 3rd map in a row? And this is like Serral in team leagues. You know, I picked Serral on my first World Team League, or not World Team League, but my first Casters Civil War match season. And Serral carried us all the way to the finals. I mean, he was such a friggin' monster in that. And he always had to win multiple series. And even though Reynor does have some days where he 2-0s, he's nowhere near as consistent in team leagues as Serral. Serral, on the other hand, he's got a lot of work to do. But Trigger, not someone to be sniffing at. He's moving out with 2 Adepts here. Going to take the straight line linear third. Oracle goes across the map. Solar's going Spore, 2 Queens. He's got the third hatchery nicely up. There are 2 Queens in the main. Oracle ain't going to find too much there. He's just hanging out on the bases. Trigger going, yeah, we'll just chill. Interrupt his mining a little bit. And it's a drone comes in, and that's a nice free kill. Solar a little lazy with that. Oracle takes only a little bit of a bruising, forces a Spore trick. Second Oracle coming in as well. Creep is trying to spread backwards towards the bases as well as forwards. Overlord in the main does see that there's a third Oracle on the way. This Oracle flies over, finds Queens out there in no man's land, which makes you think the gold base must be pretty undefended right now in terms of Queens. Gonna go for a drone, just grabs one, gets back to safety. Not a bad play. Does take quite a bit of a bruising though. And indeed it is 12 workers on minerals and the Queen hanging out there as well. This Oracle on the left there going to regenerate its shield slowly. Oh, I like this. The hold position above the gas, but Solar very quick on the pull. Only loses a single drone there. And the Oracle's going to pull back. 2 more gateways are on the way, as well as a Forge and a Twilight. Seems like a very standard follow-up for Trigger. So Trigger's let Solar get away with the gold base. Now, to really capitalize on this as the Zerg, you want to take a quick 4th and a quick 5th base. The reason is the gold base will mine out of minerals very quickly, and it gives you this boost. To really turn that into a big advantage, you want to get a lot of production up and really explode into those expansions a little bit faster than normal. Oh, this is not good for Trigger. 2 Stalkers get surrounded. Adept has to get recalled, and whilst it does get saved, it's a low hit point Adept. It's not going to be that useful in the next stages anyway. More gateways coming up right now for Trigger. He's trying to go to 6 gate Blinken +1. And Solar, he hasn't really shown any big intention of what his plan is. He's kind of going a few roaches, a few lings, a few drones. Evolution Chamber, roach speed. Knowing Solar, he'd love to just A-move Mass Roach Queen across this map. And it's going to be very hard to identify until the moment when he starts moving out. So you still see some drones rallying out of these bases. It's not just army being built. Still got that big boost of income from the gold base. Trigger does get a few more drones there. He's got 8 drones in total. If it wasn't for losing those Stalkers, this would have been a very nice opening. Almost throws away an Oracle with a bit of a misclick. It is what it is. Templar Archives coming in. Looks like he wants to play a Gateway Man style. Okay. Gateway Man. I was not expecting this for Trigger up against Solar. But is he adding a Storm? Actually, it's 6 gas, so it looks like he's playing Psystorm. Okay, Stalker Storm. Roach is very good versus Psystorm. Storm can get value versus them over time. The problem is it takes forever to actually get your Storms available. You got to warp in a High Templar and then wait a long time before they're ready. Trigger is quite supply blocked right now, building 5 pylons. It's an unfortunate moment to get supply blocked because Solar has picked his build. He's picked his poison. He's going to do a +1 Roach Ravager Zergling all in. He's not droning anymore. So he's basically said, look, I'm taking a 4th. It's a totally real 4th. But he's only got a few drones there, 1 gas. And he's just going to mass Roach Ravager Ling and go for it. And we are now seeing him show his hand. Stasis Trap blocking the Zerglings. Trigger will have to give up the 4th base. But man, he's been supply blocked for so long. He just doesn't have that many units as well. The Oracles turn on their lasers. The Queens are here as well. Trigger has to fall back. The Oracles have no energy. Charge and Storm in the way as well as +2. It's just mass Roach Ravager. It's such a simple solution to a complicated matchup. Have a good macro opening, get ahead off the gold base, make Roach, go kill. A lot of players overcomplicate ZVP. Solar understands the power of picking up a brick and smashing it into your opponent's face. So many Zergs would be going Infestation Pit, Lurkaden, Spire, Hive, Second Evo Chamber, Baneling Speed. Solar says, or I could have more Roaches and Zerglings. 130 army supply versus 47. I don't care how good your Storms are. You are not defending this with 9 Stalkers. It's just not possible. Apparently he has a few Stalkers on the north as well. Storm is here. He gets some big juicies. Don't get me wrong. They're nice Storms. It's just nowhere near enough to defend this. Zerglings have breached the natural. Zealot's going down there. The Worker's going down. Archon's trying to morph up front. Probes getting ransacked in the mineral line. And it's these 8-minute Roach Max attacks that Reynor won a world championship off 2 years ago that we have seen become Solar's bread and butter. Especially if he's playing a player who he thinks he's a little bit better than, or he thinks he's maybe going for a bit too much tech. He says, I'm going to hit you just before that 4th base, that production, all that stuff pays off. And this is why back in the day, Zest was actually one of the better players versus Solar, is because he was happy to sit on 3 base for far longer than most foreigners. If there's one thing that foreigners hate, it's sitting on 3 base in Protoss versus Zerg. They want that 4th so desperately that it opens up a lot of these attacks, which On paper, if you know this is coming, it's not that strong, but it's because it's so hard to identify that this is coming, and it's especially good against a player that's used all their Oracle energy for the harassment, that's only got a handful of Stalkers, that does not have any Immortals or Disruptors, and really that's what you want. Immortals or Disruptors are the key to defending that. You can do it with Mass Stalker, but you can't be going for Storm and Charge and a 4th base and all these other fancy things as well. Solar with a brutal, massive Roach push gets an easy victory. All right, guys. Solar with a very simple victory. That gold base, getting away with it, I think a little bit too much. And you could kind of tell he took Trigger off. Oh, he kind of caught Trigger off guard. Trigger is going for... Oh, he's doing his Nexus Tempest Rush. Oh, guys, this is so good. Oh my god. Okay, so this is the build. He goes for a Proxy Stargate here, and then a Nexus, and he builds, I think, a Void Raider Harass, and then straight into... some cannons and tempests, and sieges the Zerg's base from here. This is a dirty build. We saw him beat Lambo on like day 1 of the patch on ladder doing this build. Now, it's interesting that he's building a cannon first. This seems like a different order to what I remember. I don't think you need a cannon this early. I do feel this is a slightly de-optimized build order, maybe a little bit worried about pool first Zerglings coming out or something like that. But yeah, so he's going to go cannon, Stargate, Adept, and then Nexus. Nexus allows you to battery overcharge, and of course building Tempest on the front can be very, very nice as well. Now Solar is scouting, and he's going, oh, what's going on? I can run Solar's camera right now as he tries to solve this problem. He's looking for proxies on the right, Zergling going over to the gold base, because obviously he realizes that's a common area. Adept's coming across the map, and he's going to come in, and the cannon shoots him, but he sees the Stargate. Now, quick lair. Yeah, I was going to say, you just put back on gas. So let's go back to everyone's camera. I was like, you need a lair. So he's like, I need 100 gas. I need to start a lair, even on 2 base, get a Spire started. The earlier I get Corruptors out, the more I can win this game. If I don't get Corruptors out, I'm screwed. I would also, if I was him, secure the 3rd on the right, because you know you're going to be losing mining on this base, almost certainly. You can buy time with Queens and Spores. We'll see how much he commits to that versus just being willing to give this base up, transfer workers over here, and do that instead. Adept shading in, but there's plenty of Zerglings there to hold that back. Alright, we've got a Fleet Beacon and the Stargate on the way. Lair is on the way right now. Oh, the Adept actually commits in. That's a bit of an overcommitment there for Trigger, I would say. Probably should have waited for the second Adept. There's going to be a Zergling counterattack. Ooh, we're going to need to build a cannon at home, my friend. Or an Adept right now. If he builds an Adept, he might be okay, but I'd probably be building a cannon. That Woloff's a little vulnerable. Oh, he's not putting a Nexus. He's literally just one-basing this. This is like Print F style, man. Cannon does go up at home. Lair about 3/4 done. He's just going to have to make Corruptors off the main base, but the main base income is enough. If it's 1 base versus 1 base, then I think it's fine. If you have the gold base coming up, the cool thing is you get so much income from that, you can transition off of it. I actually think he could have gotten away with doing a 1-gate expand onto the gold, and only then kind of walling off behind it and everything. Dude, the one-shotting the drones is pretty brutal. But the Spore Crawler and the Queens are going to buy some time. He's thinking about going for a Nexus right now as Trigger. Notice he's starting to float minerals. Oh, the Tempest getting these one-shots on the drones is brutal, man. But it takes a long time to kill this. Now, you can make Tectonic Destabilizers on the Fleet Beacon, but it's an expensive upgrade. I think it's like 150, 150 or 100, 100. And when you're this broke, you really can't afford things like that. He's already unable to start the 3rd Tempest because he doesn't quite have the cash right now. But he's pushed Solar back to 1 base mining. This is a glorious build order. Trigger really channeling that North American energy right now. Spire is on the way. It's almost halfway done. Remember, when it comes out, the Tempest will get shut down. Gold Nexus is finally on the way. Trigger needs to probe up, though. If he wants to transition out of this, he needs to probe up right now. He's still building Tempests. Don't get me wrong. I think he gets to kill this hatchery pretty much no matter what. But if he doesn't start probing, there we go, then he doesn't get the economy advantage. So I think Trigger was so focused on making this work, thinking Solar would try to break out of his base, he may be just overcommitting to the point where you got so much damage done here. 9 drones and Overlord, you're denying a hatchery. But now that he gets Corruptors out and he's up 10 workers, it is still a 2-base Zerg versus a 1-base Protoss. Yes, you got a gold base, but you're down 10 workers, and that is the scary thing. Tempests are over here. First 4 Corruptors are on the way. Solar, he's just going to try to deny Zerg probe mining there. We do want to see recall from this Nexus. You want to recall a bunch of those probes from the main over there. But he just chrono boosted. Oh no, he just chrono boosted using that Nexus because he was microing. This Nexus is the one that's meant to be chrono boosting. That Nexus is meant to be recalling, which means he can't recall for another 40 seconds. He does see the Corruptors coming out. His Tempests have to get back to the safety of the cannons and the batteries, guys. I like that he focuses down a few more drones there. I mean, Solar's mining is still very bad right now, but he's got the base on the right. It is similar workers for both sides. If that gold base was mining, he'd actually be ahead on the mining. But because Trigger's pure Stargate, that's an issue. He's playing full Sky Toss from here, and that can work, but it's going to be a numbers game. He's going to need Void Rays. Sees no expansion on the left. Oh no, get out of there. Just run, Trigger. Don't turn and fight. You got to pull back to the cannons. Okay. Well, I guess only 5 Corruptors is not that much damage. Never mind. He knows this a lot better than I do. I'm getting excited. I'm really wanting Trigger to win because I love meme strats. And this is such a great way to abuse this map. Radhuset Station is a weird one. Gotta be careful though. Those Corruptors come forward. Oh, he still hasn't recalled. He uses battery overcharge and he once again uses the energy on this Nexus, which means he's not recalling probes. Damn it, Trigger keeps over-microing and using his control group. He needs to recall those probes. I mean, yes, the cannons are kind of denying 2 of the mineral patches completely, which does suck as well. Actually, that cannon placement's pretty suboptimal, but definitely a very awkward position to be in. There is still a cannon and an Adept and a Stalker at home. I think the Stalker's there in case the Corruptors come in to try and do wee-wee on his main Nexus. Tempests do deny the natural. Solar is stuck on 2 base building. Corruptors, and there are Void Rays building. He's going to go for a Twilight Council, realizing if I get some Archons with this, I mean, he can't handle the ground army. And that's what I would have liked to see initially, is just focus on getting the gold base advantage, kill one of these 2 cannons so you can actually mine these minerals on the bottom, recall the probes, and then just go for like charge Archon follow-up or something like that, because there's no Roach Warren. There's no Roach Warren or anything like that. Great damage that he's done so far. 4 Tempests, 2 Void Rays versus 12 Corruptors. 12 Corruptors win that fight rather handily. But there's no preparation for the ground game for Solar, and Solar does not have a Roach Warren. He's making air upgrades. He's rebuilding a 3rd. You can tell this is Solar's first time playing against this, and it's such a good strategy to surprise your opponent in a best of 1. He definitely should not go Blink. Yeah, he's going Charge. Good. I was like, Blink makes sense when you've opened carriers a little bit, but in this case, no. Uh-oh, he's going to lose a Void Ray. Nice snipe there for Solar. Solar does not feel confident droning, though. I think he's kind of like, look, you're just going to try and kill me. I just have to be ready for it. The problem is he doesn't have scouting right now, and if he doesn't realize what's happening, then he's screwed. But if he sees these gateways... Oh, he's got the Zerglings. He's got the Zergling on the Watchtower. He's going to pee on the Fleet Beacon right now, but the Tempests do chase him away. Guys, he has a Zergling on the Watchtower. He sees the gateways and the Templar Archives, which means Solar should drop a Roach Warren right now. Oh, that Zergling on the Watchtower, seeing the gateways and the Templar Archives. If Trigger built these at home, he'd actually be able to win the game with the Zealot Archon. But now Solar knows about it. Solar has a minute to prepare before the attack hits. And that's unfortunate for Trigger. It still might be too much for Solar to handle. He's thinking about taking a base up there, but that's an easy denial on that base. If I was Solar, I wouldn't even go for the probe. I would wait for him to start the Nexus and then run in and kill it. But Solar, not being patient, just says, no, fuck it. Just get in there. Just kill him. Buildings on the towers go down yet again. Archons are morphing right now. First 2 Archons going to be coming in, +1 Zealots as well. Can you imagine if he surprised him with this move? It's nothing but Corruptors and Lings. You attack him with like 2 Archons, 5 Zealots, you literally win the game. But now there's Roaches building. Oh, Solar's scouting this just in time, and Trigger giving that information away on the front has been a critical mistake in this game. The Corruptors come in, unzip their flies, and say, we make wee-wee. The Templar Archives does go down. Tempest trying to come back to defend those Corruptors. The Void Ray Archon Zealots on the front. The Roaches are coming out just early enough to be ready for this. Trigger tries to do a surprise Zealot Archon swap. It was a great idea, but Solar with the scouting, the Zergling activity, he's ready for it. The Tempests are in the open, and he's going to lose a Tempest. Another Tempest goes down. Oh, very, very, very well played here. Absolutely stunning play. Obviously, Trigger hasn't practiced this build much, I don't think, since like the early days of the patch, but he came in with really good decision-making to do the build. Unfortunately, I think he just took a bit too long to get the gold base up, didn't recall the probes. You can see here, guys, look, all the probes cannot get to those 2 mineral patches. So unfortunate building plays for him. Just a few too many small mistakes stacking up here. Small mistake here, small mistake there. And Solar's the guy who says, small mistakes against me are massive mistakes. I'm the GSL reigning champion for a reason. I'm going to keep sneaking the Lings onto the Watchtowers. I'm going to see everything you do ahead of time. And he's now got 28 Roaches. Roach speed starting up. Beautiful play here. comes in for the PP on the Nexus once again. The Roaches spreading back in an expanding arc, trying to come forward on the north. The Roaches on the bottom. Nice stutter step for slow Roaches. He's doing a great job with his micro. They will get isolated eventually. The Zealots in the mineral line take out a couple of these drones. Looks like the Nexus gets weed down. Trigger with very little income right now because he's only got a few mineral patches left in his main. And he's trying to do damage, and he is getting a bit of damage done on the economy. There's no way he can deal with that Roach Ball. There's no way he can deal with the Corruptor Ball. Solar, very, very, very well played. And he's just going to fly into that main base, unzip his fly, and finish off Trigger's hopes in this game. Man, so promising for Basilisk, but now this puts Serral in deep waters. If Trigger can't make magic happen, which we know he can't now, his supply is way too far behind. He's going to have to tap out in a moment. Serral is going to have to win 2 games in a row, and then potentially a 3rd game. So 2 games, all that'll do is force the ace match against Maru. So he has to 2-0 Maru, force the ace match, and then beat probably Solar, maybe Maru in an ace match as well. Serral right now is feeling the weight of being the heaviest player on his team, the most reliable player on his team, and no doubt a little bit annoyed that Reynor lost that map to Ryung, that Trigger wasn't able to seal the deal in this one. But it's just another day, of course, for Serral, realizing, okay, Solar, Maru, it's ONSYDE, it's one of the best teams in the league. These guys are going to be hard to stop. All right. The big boy's out. It's Basilisk, Serral in the bottom left side of the map. And in the top right, it's Maru. The match we've all been waiting for. Unfortunately for Serral, ONSYDE Gaming's team have set Maru up for success. It's already 3-1 in a best of... I tried to drag a box there over that, and I realized I can't drag boxes over the overlay, can I? It's 3-1 in the best of 7. Maru needs to win 1 game in this best of 2. If Serral can manage to 2-0 Maru, he still doesn't win. He will basically force a revive where Serral will almost certainly come out, and he'll probably have to face Solar, maybe Maru, and win another map to actually win. So Serral needs to win 3 maps in a row and cannot drop a single map. It is a nightmare for any player, but if anyone could do it, it's Serral. Maru is also up in the top right of Radu set. He's gone command center first. This map sucks for Reaper Harass because there's no ledge or anything. There's only really one way in. So it's way more important to just basically go for economy. And I love the command center first opening. Serral actually opened up with a pretty quick ling speed, which I'm surprised by on this map. I really feel like it's actually better to just play a gasless build for the opening. You know, I think Dark's 3-hatchery gasless into Roach build is pretty fantastic for this map. Roaches also have the added bonus of dealing with the famous tank push. Now, we haven't seen too much of it in pro play, but there are some really nasty tank pushes where you put tanks down here, you drop Marines on the high ground. Corrosive Bile makes quick work of it, but if you're playing Ling Bane, it is a very, very annoying thing to deal with. 3rd command center building before 3 minutes. There's economy builds, and then there's what Maru is doing right now. Now, keep in mind, Maru's been on a recent downswing. He fell out of GSL Season 3 very early, losing to Solar and Scarlet. He also recently lost in a tournament to Dongregu. He's lost hasn't beaten Max Packs since like the start of the year. It's been interesting because Maru's had some real highs this year, but it does feel like, I don't know if his injury's been playing up because he's a very private person, doesn't like to give much away, but he has had a few noticeable and notable losses over the last few months that are starting to, I think in some doubters' minds, stack up, you know, oh, is he done for? You know, anytime Serral or Maru loses, the people kind of start to get very, very panicked, but I am a believer. I think Maru is not going to disappear into that good night. I think he is a very scary player you must respect. He's getting slightly supply blocked. That 3rd command center will finish in a moment and unsupply block him though. Hellions going to come in for their first damage, a single creep tumor. Serral already has a queen split on either side of this. What do you guys even call this, guys? Is this a gash? A gash filled with blue shinies. Is that minerals, do you think? Or is it just ice? Are we on top of a glacier, maybe? I think it's a glacier because it looks like melting kind of water underneath it, maybe. Anyways, Overlord comes in from behind in the rear with the goopy gear. This Overlord role-playing as an SCV before turning into a fine bloody mess. It does see that there's most likely a Liberator. You see a Liberator or a Medevac, and often you'll see Zergs say, okay, I'm going to put a Spore Crawler there or up there, put one over up here as well, and really try to be ready for any sort of air harass. 7 queens and 12 Zerglings. 2 more queens are in the way. There is a Viking down here. Single queen will head down there to shoo it away, but not bad damage. 2 queens cannot take on that many Hellions too efficiently, but Maru's not willing to stand and trade, knowing reinforcements are nearby. I was wondering if we would see mech this game, but it is going to be double engineering bay, double barracks, and a very much standard macro style. Our eyes are on the factory though, because that's going to lift off in a moment, and if it builds a reactor, it's Widow Mines. If it builds a tech lab, it's siege tanks. Normally, most maps I'd say siege tanks for Maru. Here, I would expect Widow Mines, because there just aren't many good tank spots other than that ledge I talked about. Maybe doing some weird push over here. It's big, wide open areas where Widow Mines and their giant splash damage is what you really want to focus on. And indeed, it is a reactor. Maru agrees with me. I like to make a statement and then nervously see if the pro gamer agrees with me, or if the fans are going to tell me I'm stupid. I didn't realize there's so many little... Are these sparks? Little kind of fiery mist down there on that side of the map. Doesn't look like there's any over here on this side. I didn't actually realize this left side of the map has these like little orange geysers, and then that right side seems to have this little particle effect everywhere. Interesting. It also has the orange things, so maybe they're just coming out of the different areas of the map. I think that maybe it comes from the pyramid, because actually it is up in this side as well. So top left and bottom right both have that effect. Overseer comes in. It's going to scout. Serral's going Spire right now. Oh, Mutalisks. I mean, they should be great on this map, you would think. Kind of hard to get between your bases to defend on this map. Mutas will control drops really well. If a biomine push overextends, you can shut it down and stop it from retreating. Serral's already on 74 workers, going up to 78. Pre-7 minutes. The Viking did not chase down the Overseer, but he's hunting. And Maru will find it. Up against the edge of the map. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Here we go. Double drop in the back door. Zerglings and Queens scrambling. They're not here, though. Mutalisks are in production, though, so this could be a one-way trip for these Marines. Great choice to pull back for Maru. His 1-1's finished. Remember, the armory is done in the back of the base. He's building a second factory right now. Does he know about the Mutalisks? I don't think so. Spire was built. Where was the Spire built, guys? Ah, there it is. Up in the main base. Looks like he catches a drone going over there, thinking about taking the gold base. I love that the creep is going to spread to the low ground. That creep spreading down there is a really nice way to just get map control going on the right side of the map much earlier. You can barely spread creep tumors from here to there as well as another way of getting that across. Good creep clearing abilities going down for Maru. 1-1 only now coming in for Serral. Where are his Mutalisks, by the way? They are just hiding up here in the top left side of the map. He's trying to sneak them around the map. Maru has no idea. He's not built turrets yet. Maru has no idea about the Mutalisks. He's got to be careful. He's going for a drop on the right, a push on the left. That being said, Serral's 5th base is going to go down. He can't engage this, not without Banelings. The Mutalisks need to do counter damage. Liberator coming in as well. Oh, Maru's actually throwing the kitchen sink at Serral right now. This is massive. This is so huge right now. This is really awesome. Liberator comes in, starts to do some nice damage. Mutalisk's going to fly up there as well. Going to start to do damage to these SCVs. Marines down there in the bottom with the Marauder. The Widow Mine. Oh! Big Widow Mine shot on the Zerglings, smearing them across. The attack is still on the front. Mutalisks, though, killing 17, 18 SCVs. That is a lot of damage for Maru to be taken in the face. His 3 extra barracks, going up to 8 barracks, are all going down. The turret in the main is getting stopped. And Serral, even though he lost his 5th, he lost a lot of units. I think he comes out on top because that economic disruption will pay dividends over the next few minutes of this game. He can also find that 4th command center on the way out. He won't be able to kill it, but he can definitely apply a little bit of damage. Maybe pick off an SCV or 2. 24 workers is massive. Maru needs to hold that worker key down, and he's doing a pretty good job of it right now. But it was hiding the Mutalisks for so long that has paid off so well for Serral in this game. Creep spread still looking solid on the front. He never spread this creep to the low ground, and that is a big mistake for Serral. I don't think he's played this map too often. Oh, Marine Sandwich gets 2 of the Mutalisks. Finally, the first 2 Mutalisk kills of this game. Serral's creep spread lacking. He's a little distracted right now. His creep is all just idle, and it feels like Maru's really thrown him out of his element. He's even going to go for a Widow Mine drop across the map. Unfortunately, the Mutalisks will find that. Oh, Serral! Serral caught sleeping on this giant map. He now pulls them back, but a little bit late on that. Luckily for him, Zerglings are ready. Widow Mine drop tries to get down, and the drones will just pull away. Mutalisk's going to try and fly in, and only a few drones should be going down to this one. Good focus fire on the Widow Mines that had not fired. Mutas, Lingbane cleans it up. 5th base is finally almost back up on the left side of the map. But the mutas are being kept back, and this gives Maru valuable time. His 4th is now established. He's building more command centers, drilling claws. Widow mines are building 2 at a time. +3 attack is on the way. And guess what? He may have forgot his armor upgrade earlier, but Serral forgot his carapace as well. So they're both a little behind on their upgrades from where they should be. That is the messiness of this game coming into the 4. Infestation pets there. I feel like Serral should be winning pretty hard on map control, but because his creep spread hasn't been as consistent as I'd like, it's not quite as powerful as it could have been. Good sneaky Widow Mine behind the refinery scares those Mutalisks away. Now, at some point, you do want to break these rocks and these minerals, because otherwise Terran can just push here, clear the rocks, mine the minerals open with a mule or 2, and then they'll be able to really cause you a lot of issues. Maru's going to keep doing Widow Mine drops. Serral's creep spread's finally starting to spread. He still has not spread this creep down here, which I'm amazed by. It seemed like such a clever idea that he never remembered for the rest of this game. He's even got one there. He could spread across the gap. But the creep in the middle is going nice and far. Mutalisks continuing to pick off units on the front. 3-3 is on the way right now. And 2 more command centers. For Maru, I don't know if you can turtle in the late game on this map. I feel like trying to do some sort of big push here with 3-3 or maybe 3-2 is fine. Just get in there before Serral gets to Hive Tech. Start doing some big maxed out pushes. He's only got 3 Marauders though. That's a big problem. He's got Tech Labs, but he forgot Concussive and he forgot Marauder production. You'd like to have about 6 or 8 Marauders in your army at this stage. And he's got so many workers and so many Widow Mines, which whilst I love Widow Mines, and I like that he went for a Widow Mine drop. I apologize for not catching that on camera. Hard to see things on such a big map. I do feel like his army is not all that large and impressive. And therefore, it's hard to push into the Zerg. And you don't want to let a Zerg have time to kind of pick where and when the fights happen. Because if you give Serral that opportunity, he's going to basically make a transition into, I would imagine, Ultralisks to start, but potentially Broodlords. He may even unlock Lurk Attack as time goes on. But for now, Ultra Cavern, Adrenal Glands, +3 melee starts. And of course, needs to wait for +2 Carapace before he can start the +3 armor. I don't know who's going to really be making big plays. They both seem to be waiting for the other. It's like, all right, I'll just build to the late game. I'll pick at you with the Mutalisks, wait for you to make mistakes. High-sec auto-tracking and building armor have not been made. Plenty of turrets there. Marines coming forwards. I love the Marines trying to sandwich these Mutalisks. Serral pretty confident in his micro. Does take out a turret and a depot. Lings come forward as well. Those Marines will get taken out by the Zerglings, even though the Lings are attacking from the wrong angle. 6 Overlords. Oh, Serral's going to mass Ling drop the back door. I love it. Really cheap way to open up a new front, find some more damage, force more of a response, get some trades off. 3 starports, +3 vehicle plating, building armors on the way. We'll see high-sec auto-tracking in a moment. Fusion core as well. Is it battlecruisers or is it liberators? I think battlecruisers are kind of iffy. I think range liberators are great, but because he hasn't gone ship weapons yet, I feel like it may actually be the battlecruiser option. Few Thors in the mix to deal with the mutas. Plenty of Widow Mines across this map to deal with the Ling Bane. Serral's Dropper Lords are there and ready. Gonna load them up now and send them in. So many turrets for Maru. He's expecting a Reynor style, 45 Mutalisks flying into his base and picking off his turrets, but Serral not one to invest so much money in a unit that's not good in a direct fight. That Widow Mine will get taken out. Up in the top, Zergling's going to start unloading. That's 7 turrets there. A lot of the Overlords will go down, but man, the Zergling's going to get in there. Unfortunately, he's doing this while nothing else happens at the same time, so it doesn't really get as much damage as one would like, but clearing some turrets, clearing a sensor tower, it's still good value. It's still going to be a positive trade there. Serral is ahead, 700 resources in that. He's also forcing a bunch of scans out, which at least in the meantime does lower Maru's income. Serral's patience is very interesting. He's got Burrow, he's going Infestors. I would expect Neuroparasite in the near future. Hides a few Zerglings, immediately unburrows and gets back in there, but there's a Widow Mine behind the refinery. That's unfortunate. There's a lot of Widow Mines all over this map. He's on cleanup duty right now. Ooh, snipes would have been really cute there. Mutas are very fast though, so they can get out of snipe range quite easily. Still has not broken these rocks and mined these minerals. No one's doing this. I really feel like people just get confused by those rocks and forget it's even a thing. I'd love to see him do it. Good trade there for Maru, clearing a lot of Banelings. He's got a good Widow Mine count. I love that the Ghosts are in the back, making sure they don't get jumped on. They're more of a reserve unit. First Ultralisks on the way. army is 38 banelings, 52 zerglings, 20 mutalisks. Those mutalisks fly in, they see mass turret, and they back off. Remember, just by forcing these turrets, you're forcing Maru to spend thousands and thousands of minerals on buildings that will not help him secure new bases. All they do is defend against the mutalisks. So in a way, not only are you trading close to even right now, Maru finally takes the lead. Oh, mutalisks getting sniped. Uh-oh. But you are also forcing a lot of static defense, and that is in of itself a little bit of a victory. Ghosts are surviving. One ghost does go down. The other one gets away. Liberator's chasing him off right now. No turrets in the mineral line. He actually could go in that mineral line and kill a bunch of those workers. But Serral wants to get out of here, and he will fly away. Ultra's building right now. It is 3-3 versus 3-3. I love that the medevac energy upgrade is being remembered here. Something I always forget to get. I've got to start remembering that. Plus 100% energy regen for medevacs is an insane late game upgrade for those medevacs. It's so good. Festa's sneaking around, sharking in from the rear. In the rear with the gear. That actually applies to a lot of units more than the SCV. I believe that's a Full Metal Jacket reference anyway, isn't it? Ling Bane trying to collect here. The bio spread. You don't want to chase up that ramp. Get rid of the front units. Do not chase up that ramp, Serral, unless you've got a really good setup. He's going to send Lings to the bottom right. That's an orbital! Oh, Maru! Greedy boy Maru leaving an orbital exposed there. Serral is like, wait, seriously? This is not a planetary? He was probably just expecting to kill the sensor tower and not much else, but he finds a bunch of SCVs in mining time, kills a bunch of turrets and sensor towers. Very nicely done. Oh, bad timing in nuke. Ghost tries to sneak in, immediately gets spotted by the Mutalisks and the Overseer and taken out. Uh-oh, Ultra's coming in for a big fight. Maru wasn't watching for a moment. His units were on move command. He did not realize there was an army down here. Ghost spreading back from those Banelings. Oh, big Thor pickup though. And the Ghost snipe's really good. Whenever you chase, it's always like the tail end of that fight. It looks good for Zerg, good for Zerg. And then the Ghosts unholster their rifles. And they just snipe those Ultras down. They gun down any Ling Bane, especially if the Overseers aren't still alive. A couple Widow Mines go down, but a few snipes taking out the Mutalisks as well. 3,000 resources lost units advantage for Maru. Remember though, Maru spends so much more money on infrastructure. He doesn't have a lot of bank. He's got to be careful in these scenarios. There is a massive army of Lings, Banes, Mutas, Infestors, and Corruptors. Serral with the fungal from behind, but he doesn't have the Banelings close enough to capitalize. Those Ghosts will still be able to pull back. The Thor picks up, the Medevacs pick up the Ghosts, and the Liberators here and the turrets are getting taken out by those Mutalisks. Thor gets redropped and actually killed by Banelings, funnily enough. On the bottom right side, Lings come in again, denying the orbital and 7 SCVs and a turret again. Maru has to move a command center down there and morph at planetary. It's very greedy what he's doing. He's changed his mind. He says, okay, I'll ignore that base. I'll take this top one then, which is fair enough. But he should have made this decision a little bit earlier. Hydras are on the way. Serral thinking about getting a kind of just flexible unit mixed in. Doesn't want these Mutalisks in the army for too much longer because they're wasting a lot of supply. Maru's got 6 Liberators, 10 Ghosts, 15 Marines, 12 Marauders. The gold base of Serral, mighty exposed. He's thinking about engaging into it. He's going to come in. Massive Ling Bane Ultra collapse. On top of the army, the Liberators are making their presence known. The Bio pulling back. The Liberators will go down to the Muta Corruptor, but the Ghosts will clean up the ground army. A few Liberators are still alive. They do get survived there. And a few Marines and Marauders beat the Ultralisks down here on the low ground and take out the hatchery. Looks like a planetary barely finished up there, but the Mutalisks have identified that there's nothing that shoots up nearby. Even with that building armor, those Mutas are going to do good damage. They've got +3. These are 12 damage Mutalisks. He's dropping mules to save the planetary, and Serral will back away before those Ghosts can get the snipes. Down in the south side, another Serral base sniped. Maru getting massive value. He's only ahead 5,000 resources in the units lost. His bank is about 8,000 resources behind Serral. But he's trading well, and if he can mine out a similar number of bases on the map. Notice Serral hasn't really transferred workers to this base or this base down the bottom, so he's not stolen any of Maru's minerals just yet. And if the game keeps going like this, the longer it goes, Serral will run out of resources on his side of the map much sooner than Maru. Maru can just take a single base at a time, drop a billion mules there, and have amazing income. Infestor unburrow ambush. He unburrows there as the turrets finish building. Fungles the bio. The Liberators there are getting a lot of damage. The Corruptors come in from behind. The Lingbane Ultra trying to get on top. A few Ghosts get saved on the far right side. Corruptors cleaning up some of the Liberators, but the turrets are putting in a lot of damage, as are those Ghost Snipes on those Corruptors. 13 SCVs go down, and that, though, he doesn't kill the Planetary. That's the most important thing. I don't think killing 13 SCVs matters that much, but a trade is a trade. Now, notice Serral's bank is getting much smaller, but if on the next wave he kills this base, then Maru might be screwed. He's got minerals still for a bit longer, but he really needs a fresh base. And if he keeps the gold base up, it's fine. But right now, Serral, he's not got that many workers. He's actually building 8 drones. He's getting ready for 20 Corruptors. Oh, man. Has he got a Greatest Buyer? He does not have a Greatest Buyer. So he's going to dive with 23-2 Corruptors to kill the Libs as fast as possible. He's still got Lings denying the bottom right. Maru needs a new command center to get down here and make a planetary. He cannot take that with just an orbital. He keeps trying to do it. And this is one of the things that I've always identified in a lot of pro players, guys, that this base is the lifeline for Maru. He needs to defend the gold. But right now, he's trying to secure the bottom right. And that is so far distant. This gives Serral 2 attack choices. Kill the bottom right or kill the gold. And there's no way Maru can cover both of them. By taking bases in opposite sides of the map like this, you open up opportunities for the Zerg to pick good engagements. Serral is letting him get away with murder by letting that gold base mine. Serral loves to fight front on. He loves to lock horns with his opponent and just bash their skull in. You guys know those dinosaurs they found the fossils of where they have that massive, thick skull? They got like the big head on, and they're like, okay, these guys probably bashed heads like those rams do over mating rights or something. Basically, Serral's one of those dinosaurs. He wants to crack your skull with his skull. He's a goddamn tavern brawler when it comes to that. He does go for a counterattack now, though. Lingbane comes in. He's going to take out the planetary. That base will go down, but it'll take out a lot of Zergling with it. And he's going to take out the gold base in return. Will he, though? Maru saves a few of the Marines, leaves some Marauders there. He's got a lot of Marauders and Ghosts. Serral is going to trade gold bases. He's opened up these rocks and these minerals finally on this left side. Maru never opened his up, which I think makes a bit more sense as the Terran, especially now as he's focused on the bottom right. Maru, you need a planetary. Stop sending SCVs to this base. I mean, I guess if he can control the area in front of it, it's not the worst idea. It's just one of these things that's going to keep causing him problems. Zerglings hide in the bottom right, up there to the right, and over here on the left. Serral's just waiting for him to leave. He'll unburrow those Zerglings and cause him even more problems. Maru is giving Serral attack angles, and I'd actually love to see Serral rotate, clear this middle area, and go towards the natural. If he can strike towards the natural, he'll actually catch Maru struggling because that's so far away from the bottom corner. Those Lings, if they unburrow, it's only one Liberator defending it. Could kill a few of those SCVs. It's not enough to ruin the mineral line, though. More Infestors building right now. Still no sign of a Greatest Buyer. That's a lot of Corruptors in the fungal ambush from behind. Oh my god, his fungal ambush is so good. But even with the Corruptors there, hot pickup from Maru, saves a lot of the units. The Liberators are getting destroyed. If he can kill the Medivacs, that'll be great, but he can't let the Corruptors get sniped. So trades the Lingbane. Yes, the Ghost survive, but he kills a lot of air units and pulls back, and that is the efficiency that Corruptors give you. I still think 20 Corruptors is way too many. I'd love to see 14, 12? 20 just seems a little bit extreme. 40 supply of Corruptors to me is just wild. That's like saying, oh, I'm just going to have a beer to relax at this work function and cracking 2 40s. I heard that 40s are a thing in America. I was very confused. Then I realized you guys use ounces because you guys use basically fantasy measurements. The only thing that could improve the American measurement system is if you guys use the British ones. You're like, I'm 27 stone. You're like, you're stone? Why is stone a unit of measurement? You guys are archaic as all hell. Anyways, Liberator Ghost coming forward here. A couple of Marine Marauder doing what they can. Lingbane Ultra Corruptor. It's a pretty basic army for Serral. He's only got those Infestors. But they're giving him so much value. And finally, it even unburrows and gets a fungal off. But it doesn't matter. A little bit of damage, not going to change anything. Serral's coming forward. Those Infestors keep penetrating from behind, man. Yeah, it was Tempo who taught me what a 40 was. He's like, oh yeah, you want to get a couple 40s? I was like, what the hell is a 40? He's like, it's a giant can of beer. And I was like, oh, it's the American long neck. It was very exciting. It's even bigger than a long neck. A long neck's not that big. Banelings take out a bunch of SCVs. Nice attack here. There is a planetary next to the base now, so Maru has finally entrenched his defense down there. Can he hold the gold base at the same time, though? There's a lot of Banelings coming through. The Corruptors come in. A Fungal does land. Oh, the Banelings land on those Fungal ghosts. The Corruptors annihilating the Liberators. The turrets got blown up as well by the Banelings. The Ultra's starting to fall out, though. They are starting to thin, but the Corruptor's got so much damage. The Corruptor value is wild, guys. He's still got 15 Corruptors left. I said 20's too many. Serral said, no. He's playing Mass Lib Medevac. Like, there's so many units. I need the Corruptors. That's where I get the value in these fights. And he's only down 5,000 resources. You are meant to be about, I would say, usually at least 25% more efficient than your opponent. And yet Maru's only been 10% more efficient. This is very bad for Zerg versus Terran. Now, that's not because Maru's playing bad. Part of it is the map. The bases are pretty spread out. There's lots of wide open areas. Ultra Ling Bane Corruptor excels on this map, and Serral is showing exactly why. The thing is, if he wasn't using the sneaky infestors from behind, I feel like this wouldn't be working so well. But because he keeps sneaking infestors right up Maru's back door, it's given him a lot of problems. Oh, look at that. He's even going to kill the Liberator and pee on the command center. He's peeing on both command centers at once. Serral says, how about some of that Finnish Mountain Dew, buddy? Maru shaking his head in disgust. He's going to lose both command centers. Oh, no. The Fungal tries to pop up. That one does get dodged. But denying this base, that was the heart of Maru's economy. That was the last vestiges of his economy. And that's a huge problem. Oh, very, very well done there by Serral. You know, you could see Maru did the correct technique, by the way. You lift the orbital, you queue it to run out of range so the Corruptor P stream breaks, and then you quickly land it so they can't attack you with their regular attack. If you guys ever have a command center get P'd on, say the Corruptor's here, you lift it, you tell it to move here, and then move, and then just land. And once it lands, they can't hit it, and you can keep it alive. But you've got to react quickly, because the way the Corruptor P works, a lot of people don't know this, is after 4.3 seconds of channeling their P, it goes up to 5 times the damage. So the first few seconds, it doesn't do a lot of damage. But after almost 5 seconds, it goes up 5 times and becomes insane. Ultra Baneling rolling through. Maru just doesn't have the numbers to contest this. He just could not hold an extra base. And Serral combining the map, controlling the map so well. Mining out all these minerals that are in Maru's territory. If he can take the bottom right and secure those minerals as well, that'll just be another way of removing resources that Maru could ever mine from this map. I mean, look at how many mules he's dropping. He's like, I have a lot of orbitals. I can still mine a crazy amount. I've got the Iron Bank. I've got 9 orbitals. And Serral's just like, yeah, doesn't matter. I'm not going to give you a chance to use them because I remax so quickly. And units for Terran also take a very long time to get out on this map. If you think about a Marauder or a Ghost popping out here, it has to go out here, to the right, all the way around to, say, get this gold base. It takes a long time, whereas Zerg with creep spread, faster units like Zerglings and Ultras, they get to the fight a little bit quicker. So it looks like in the late game, my first impression on this map is that it is a little Zerg favored. Serral keeps Basilisk alive, and he gets another point on the board. All right. Still fighting for his life after an impressive win on Radosat Station. This is a smaller map. The bases still get quite spread in the late game, though. Serral fighting to keep Basilisk alive. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a regular season match. Losing this match is probably not the end of the world. But when you're looking for seeding from the regular season, it's actually pretty damn important. You're not going to get eliminated as either of these teams because they're always going to be in the top 4 or 5 teams from the season, probably top 2 or 3. However, if you come out in first seed, you get seeded way deeper into the bracket. It's not just, oh, I get easier opponents. You straight up skip a lot of opponents. You just get to be in the top 3 from the very start, or the top 4 from the very start. So getting the highest seed is a massive advantage in the World Team League. And Maru, he'd like to be beating on Basilisk. You beat Basilisk, and you're going to be top of the pool. ONSYDE, I believe, was top of the pool going into the finals last season. I think Basilisk won last season, though, right? Actually, no, ONSYDE are the champions, aren't they? Didn't they beat Basilisk in the finals or something like that? Or maybe, yeah, I think they beat Basilisk in the grand finals, if memory serves. You guys let me know in the chat. I should have probably been looking this up. You know, I don't know why I cast so much StarCraft. Sometimes I forget who wins and where, but I do think ONSYDE are the reigning champs. I think it was Solar beating Serral was crucial. Oh man, nice micro on this Reaper. Serral hasn't dropped his inject yet. I think he's going Creep Tumor first. He did go for a quick Zergling speed, so Serral is, I think, a little bit just kind of wary of like 3-Rax Reaper or anything like that. Playing a pretty standard opening. Hasn't really been doing too much 15 hatchery, 15 pool. He's going to pull back down to the left side. Ooh, starport on the way. In a bit of a hidden position, isn't it? It's a bit of a sneaky starport. You know, it'd be crazy. We never see Battlecruiser anymore. I think just because all the Zergs make 9 queens by default. And they're too good at scouting. They almost always realize ahead of time. There's such a big delay from the investment in the Fusion Core starting building the Battlecruiser to actually doing any damage. But it is something I miss, you know. I'd like to see the Battlecruiser get back in the meta. Because it's so rare at the moment, it might be time for us normal players on ladder to mix it in again in kind of low GM. To start catching those Zergs off guard again. Probably best to only use it versus Zerg that's naturally a bit of a low queen player though. This one though, just cloaked Banshees for now. Maru did go double gas and oh, the Overlord sneaks by. Look at that cheeky little bugger. Oh, because he did kill the Marine, didn't he? I thought the Marine survived. The Marine actually died there with that Zergling micro. So Serral escorts his Overlord through the base essentially. What a savage. That's frustrating for Maru. And look at that. He comes in, he sees the starport. He's like, yeah, I can go deeper. Check if there's a tech lab. Sees a tech lab upgrading, and then he just goes back to the dead space to survive. Oh no, he's actually going forward. So I guess he's checking for a 3rd command center. Hellions try to dive in. They get wrecked. Oh, this is a good start for Serral, guys. He will lose his Overlord on the other side of the map. That goes down there. But I think he's pretty damn clear on what's happening in this game, and he can drone up quite hard. Good micro by Maru, though. Gets 4 Zergen kills. That's 5 Zergens. That's actually 125 minerals there. Keeps the Hellion alive as well. Lair is super fast, though, for Serral. So I guess that's just to counter the Banshees. Notice he hasn't started the Baneling Nest yet, because he's like, yeah, just be ready for the Banshees. That's the important part. But look at this, guys. He goes fast Lair, super early on 3 spores, and there's only 1 Banshee. Only 1 Banshee, cancels Cloak. Maru says, hey, if it's scouted, it's probably not going to pay off. Build a 3rd command center, make a 2nd and 3rd barracks, make the double engineering bay, and I love this decision. Baneling Nest in the natural, going up for a 2nd and a 3rd gas. Banshee's going to go in towards that main base right now, but very easy defense for Serral. Let's just pull the drones away as the main thing. And he loses 1 drone. Banshee's already below half-life, not too bad. 4th base goes up on the right side for Serral. He's up 12 workers. It's a decent lead. Nothing to write home about. You're not like, oh, I'm up 12 workers. It's Zerg versus Terran. There's going to be a 3rd orbital momentarily. Obviously, with mules dropping, it's more even in economy than it would be in a different matchup. Creep spread looking okay, but I like that he's keeping a bit of spread as Maru. Banshee denying the creep there. Hellions denying a few tumors there. They take a bit of damage each time they do that. But look at this. Serral's just pushing those Hellions back. And then he'll go back to spread the creep. Maru's right behind him. There's already more tumors behind that. Changeling coming in as well as an Overseer Scout through the main. Siege tank production this time around for Maru. No Widow Mines, and that's because there's much better tank positions on this map. Through this middle area, up behind these ledges. I love siege tanks in this area when you're sieging across here. You can set up some really nasty spots in the middle of this map. Alright, bit of a weird drop. Only 10 Marines going south so far for Maru. A little bit slow on his other Marines, but he doesn't want to slow down. He wants to get the pressure going. He's 40 seconds ahead on the upgrades. Serral not going for a macro hatchery yet. The European finesse. You know, they like to delay macro hatcheries and just get extra bases and really hit their injects perfectly. Very rare that Serral ever screws up on that, so he's not a player I usually criticize for it, simply because he is so perfect in that macro 9 times out of 10. Thanks for watching Roll C. Catch you later, mate. Armory starts up here a little bit late. You won't be able to start 2-2 immediately, but you can already see if you're building siege tanks, usually you struggle to have enough gas anyway to start 2-2. And that's why often players going siege tanks will start a 5th gas geyser. But Maru hasn't done that, so he's going to struggle a little bit. As long as he keeps queuing up tanks and medevacs, there won't be any spare gas for 2-2. He's only on 5 barracks right now, which makes it look like it will just be... It's a heavy pressure. But I imagine we're going to see a 4th command center go down behind. He's taking a 5th gas now, realizing, oh, I am pretty short on that gas. Oh, Lingbane getting ready on the south. Maru sees a few of those Zerglings going in that direction, but he doesn't realize just how deep that count is. And look at this tank position. That's what I'm talking about. There's good tank spots on this map, man. Already denying creep on the south. Serral's queen's there. Lingbane coming in from the right and the left won't necessarily wrap around these tanks. He needs Lingbane to move up and come from this angle. If he can get Lingbane up here where my box is at the top, that's where Serral will have a good flanking angle. And he moves a few Lingbanes to kind of be in that angle. Yeah, there we go. That's better. That's better positioning, but it's not many Zerglings. It's mostly Banelings. Serral's got to be really careful about managing this, but because Maru keeps poking him with the Marines and this tank that he's now put really far forward, he's really putting the pressure on Serral, guys. All right, we're going to keep that mini-map up for now. 2-2 starts up for Zerg. Maru very slow on starting his 2-2, but Serral needs to shut down this army. He needs to stop this army. Here we go. He's going. He's pulling the trigger, coming in from the top, the bottom, and the right at the same time. The Lings will get on top of those tanks. The Banelings are getting focused by those siege tanks. Great micro by Maru. Redrops his Marines to the bank. He has a tank in reserve. He's going to keep the pressure on. Okay, Maru, he could get jumped on. Serral could easily clear this army. He has a way bigger force. But obviously, Maru, if he sieges the tank can't pick up and leave. He's going to siege it. Serral has the numbers to deal with this, but right now, not that many down here on the south. He's going for a counterattack, but Maru has more than enough units at home to defend. Oh, Serral. He has the numbers all over on the map to defend this, but they're not in the right position. He's losing queens. He's losing overseers. Oh, this is actually really scary for Serral right now. Maru doing a fantastic job of taxing Serral and getting incredible trades off. He's got the pressure on. He's going to pick up the tank and just pull back. He can pick up these units and just leave. Easy pickup choice. He sieges the tank. Well, that's a bizarre decision for Maru. He gets amazing trading in the meantime. 1,300 resources advantage for him. He's only got 3 tanks. Hydras are now finally out in the main base. 1 medevac gets focused. Oh, he gets another medevac with a few Marines inside. Bit of a wild choice to continue dropping there for Maru, but he's using that distraction, that momentum. He's cascading through the north. Serral doesn't see it until right now. Serral needed to shut that push down after the first fight. He should have shut it down and taken back the position and respread creep, but he didn't realize the numbers advantage he had, and now he's in a very, very problematic position. Queens on the bottom do get some decent damage on those Marines and medevacs. He loses the hatchery on the north. He doesn't have the Lings here. He is going to take out these siege tanks finally, but he's got to push Maru back to his side of the map. Right now, he is letting Maru bully him by constantly sieging up and dropping right in his face, and Serral is simply not punishing it. Look at that beautiful high ground drop. Definitely look at that. 4th base going up, no pressure. Maru's 3rd, Maru's 4th, both wide open and exposed. But at this point, he senses that Serral is stuck in a defensive mindset. He is pinned back. Remember, if Maru wins this game, Basilisk will be losing this round. They will be out. And Serral, he's got to win this map and one more afterwards. The pressure's heavy on his shoulders. He's got a supply advantage. I think he should be in a perfectly fine position. He's got 80 drones. He has the 2-2 advantage, with +2 still not done for Maru. But his creep spread now is terrible. His map vision, not very big. And this allows Maru to continue to set up potentially favorable engagements. Let's see what he can find. Hydras now have both upgrades. They are getting range as well as a hive on the way. The Hydras need to get out of there. They need a lot of Lingbane support. A giant army on the north because Serral has so little map vision. And all he's dealing with there is a Widowmine drop. So his army on the south is outnumbered. It's having to give up ground, and there is not enough creep spread on this map. Takes out a full Widowmine drop, though. That's a very good snatch for Serral. He should be counterattacking with this army or bringing it south to reinforce. But Serral is stuck in a defensive mindset. I mentioned that earlier. He's so defensive this game. And that normally is something that Serral sometimes falls into that mode of, I will just lock things down. But Solar, Serral, 2 Zergs that are very good on the defense. Maru is a master of taking advantage of that. If you play too defensive, he will take advantage. But look at this. Catching some medevacs. He thinks they're fully loaded. They are not. A good reaction there by Maru. Widowmine only taking out 2 Zerglings. But Maru can pull back and defend that base now that he's spotted this counterattack. Serral rotating south right now with these medevacs. Or Maru is, sorry. Going to do a big Doom drop in the south. Serral's on top of it. This is a bad drop. He's getting, not a good trade. He's just killing a few Zerglings. The medevacs are going down to the Queens. Maru, this is such a dangerous move. But, no, he's going to lose it all. That's costly. He does save 1 medevac, surprisingly. It's the attack in the north that might take advantage of it, but no, Serral keeps his army split. And Serral is actually trading so well. The Zerglings splitting off at the last second. Yes, he loses a hatchery, but the creep is reclaiming ground in the middle. If he can get some creep on the bottom and some creep on the top, he'll be good. A few more Zerglings come forward. The Widowmines all fire. A fair bit of friendly fire there. If the Hydras focus the medevacs, that'd be great. Not quite quick enough to target it, and watch out for the Revenge Widowmine there. Maru trying to bait him into it. Maru is still wide open for counterattacks on the other side of the map. It looks like Serral's going to start marching forward there. Oh, Maru gets that Widowmine in. The cock block Widowmine, a 6 hit point Widowmine, blocks the drone there and says, nah, 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 you can never touch this. You can never touch this. The Marine Marauder in the north. Ling Bane Hydra needs to push forward here. He's got a counterattack, does Serral, to punish Maru for being so aggressive. Oh, good split on the Banelings at the last second. He's gathering up a lot of Lings and Hydras, not that many Banelings. He could dive on this planetary. There's no army anywhere nearby, and he's going to block the repair. Banelings go after the SCVs. Oh, he doesn't quite get him. Great pullback from Maru. He loses a command center, but he saves the SCVs, which are often the more valuable target. And there's a new command center on the south that Serral doesn't even know about. He may have been able to take it out if he had more Banelings, but he has so few, so he was not quite able to. All right, looking down the bottom now, we can see Maru's coming out here. Hydra, Baneling trying to gather and defend. The Widowmine bio goes spready. It's a scary army. Definitely with the right micro off creep, it can out-trade Serral. Does get a few decent Banelings. He needs to get rid of those Widowmines, though. Only one Widowmine does end up surviving on the front. There's plenty more behind it. In the top right, there is a Widowmine drop that got shut down. Serral cannot secure a 6th base. His 5th base in the north is solid now, but I want to see more counterattacks from him. I want to see more attacks. The Lurkers are going to go forward, but he spotted it. Maru pulling some units up there. He's going to be ready for that. The Lurkers are now out in decent numbers. If Serral can catch this bottom side and kill these command centers, he basically eliminates the heart of Maru's economy and wins the game. Maru is in an incredibly fragile position. He's actually floated his main command center out. What? I guess he floated that over here to replace the 3rd or 4th base. He's building mass command center in the bottom, but they are so exposed and vulnerable right now. If Maru can just get his army out in front and face off with Serral's army and keep them fighting each other and keep Serral away from the economy, Maru's in a good spot. But he's got to keep Serral distracted and busy. The moment Serral realizes that he's taking this bottom left corner, those bases will get smashed by Banelings. But right now, Serral is in kind of a defensive stance. He finally goes down there. He's going to find it and go, wait a second, what the hell? I was not expecting this base to be there. Lurker Rouse on the north gets cleaned up. Maru's all over it right now. Here we go. 10 SCVs go down. The Ling Bane does not blow up the command center because he sees the planetary morph get cancelled. He's going to run away. Nice moves by Serral. A few Widowmines and a turret in the middle will get cleaned up. Lots of turrets getting built here. Maru wanting to use those so infestors cannot flank his positions. Serral, get out of there. That's a lot of bio. A lot of Marauders and Ghosts. The Hydra's kind of getting stuck on the terrain a little bit there as they path around it. The Lingbane's going to go back in for the attack in the bottom again. He's got to keep denying this base. I'd love to see him hit the north as well. But Maru's done a great job of keeping him on the defense and keeping this locked in a very even battle. No big bank advantage for the Zerg player in this game. Keep in mind, Maru's not that rich. He hasn't made building armor or high-sec auto-tracking. But he secures the planetary in the bottom left. He's got a good command center count now. 5 orbitals. And he's got a 6th one that could come up here. Or he might move that forward and take that base. His 3rd base on the top is looking the most exposed right now. Serral is simply upgrading. He's got +3 carapace. He's making melee. He's making ranged. But he's not using Vipers. It is just an Infestor, Lurkers, Lings, Banes, and Hydras. A very basic army. An army that you want to swarm with, that you want to deny the Terran bases. You cannot let a Terran sit on a 5-worker advantage and a similar base count. Serral is on a timer. He has some urgency, and he's going to go for it on this top side. But the Lurkers do get pushed back by the Liberator and the Bio Ghost. That one does go down. The whole army is up here, guys. This army in the middle is meant to move south. Maru's a little slow to do it. He will easily lose this planetary. Great move there by Serral. Planetary kills 18 units. My god, blasting those Banelings. Absolutely nasty. But getting rid of a base is good. Maru's stuck on 5 base. Serral is now on 7. This top right base just now finishing. That's good for Zerg, but it's not as simple as that. He still has poor creep spread. It's only now spreading there. He doesn't really have the creep getting past these hedges or onto this cliff or through this hedge because he doesn't have spotting units. So his creep is not proliferating. He's trying now to fall back into a defensive stance. But think about this. Defending this far top north corridor, this far south corridor, bad areas for Zerg to engage, far apart from each other, and very little creep spread helping him out. The natural Zerg advantages in the late game aren't necessarily there. I'd love to see a Great Aspire because I do think Broodlords are so powerful for breaking just about any Terran position that doesn't involve Thors and Vikings. A handful of Broodlords will blast through, even when there's Ghosts out. If you've got a few Infestors supporting, Ghosts are definitely not the answer on their own. Nice clearance of creep on the south for Maru. Maru's not making any more mass orbital. He's happy to sit on 6 for now, and I think that's a good call. He's once again expanding to distant corners. This is a move I vehemently disagree with. I really believe static play and keeping things together is his goal. On the other hand, I'll make the argument for why expanding to opposite sides is good. If you're playing pure Biomine Ghost, which he is with Libs, your army's pretty mobile, and you're basically saying, I'm just going to split push both lanes all game anyway, so I might as well split expand both lanes. It does mean if you get pushed back and the Zerg gets momentum and is like ahead of you, yeah, they'll just kill this army with half, this base up the top with the other half. Very easy for Zerg to swing in. And oh my god, Serral's going for the production! Serral's going for the production! Maru does not get his depot up. SCVs get caught. Oh my god! The Lings are in the main! Okay, you gotta be careful about sending your whole army, and the Lingbane Hydra Viper should just run away. But he's got the Zerglings in the main. He's gonna kill a starport. Barracks, add-ons all going down, and he can rotate around and kill the base behind it as well. Oh, Serral with a massive win. Lurker ambush in the middle, but Maru turns it to his advantage. Scans, takes him out. Zerglings starting to burrow everywhere. They've already killed a lot of production. Serral's army moving north. That planetary already getting sieged by the Lurkers. This is a beautiful move for Serral. Look at these Zerglings hiding all over the main base, forcing so many scans. He's going to kill the engineering bay just before high-sec auto-tracking gets up. More buildings taking damage. And that is a lovely move. Still 2 factories, 2 starports, and 6 barracks up. But you want to have 8 or more barracks in the scenario. You don't want to have so few. Serral's going to go to the bottom left now. I love the movement from him. He has just enough units to kill this, but if there's good repair and focus fire, Maru can defend it. Maru focuses the Banelings. That's going to be a defense. He should be able to... Oh, Maulings coming from behind. It should be just enough for Serral to take it out. Just enough, maybe. Okay, just enough to take it out. Definitely cutting things fine there, but Serral killing that base and 13 more workers. He's back in the driver's seat. That being said, Maru has bank. He's back on 5 bases again versus 7 base Zerg, but he's got bank. Serral should use this momentum to spread creep. He's got to take the middle bases and start mining those and keep on hitting these bases and swinging in and denying them. Units lost tab is actually almost even, which is a disaster for Maru. But remember that Serral has been even or even behind in economy for large portions of this game. Opens up the income graph and completely disproves his own point. Shut up, guys. He was slightly behind by a little bit of minerals at a few points. Shh, shh. He keeps blowing up planetaries, which are obviously putting big dents in Maru's income. Massive engagement on the south. Big fungal from behind! The Infester from behind! But that's a lot of Liberators. That is too many Liberators. He does not have the Hydras to deal with that. The Liberators. The Bio Spready. Oh my god. I just said Serral was almost even. Well, now he's down 5,000 resources and the units lost. That was a delicious engagement. I told you these corridors are bad for Zerg to engage. Fighting front on like that. He thought the fungal was good enough, but the fungal was a bait. The fungal landing was not good enough to make that fight worth it because he was only coming in from one side and a lot of his army was stuck behind each other, and the Liberator count is astronomical. 11 Liberators right now. Hydra's coming forward, trying to catch those Libs while they siege, but he doesn't have Overseers either. He doesn't have Overseers. Oh god, Serral, you need Overseers to deal with those ghosts, man. He's got a few in the back. More Banelings morphing, but losing 2 bases. Lings go for a counterattack. They definitely could do some decent damage. Widow Mines, though, clearing quite a few of them. If he goes to the bottom left, it's undefended right now. Nice maneuver. Lurker denies the top. Maru's going to have to pull home to defend this base. The SCVs do evacuate, though. Good move by him. Serral was not microing the Zerglings, so they let most of those SCVs escape. Going to try and take out some turrets. Burrow Zerglings here, there, and everywhere. Oh, he catches the medevacs on the way home. Big move, big move. 12 medevacs in total have gone down this game. There's only 5 medevacs left. Catching him. Another medevac going down in the bottom. Serral with some great moves. He's taking the hatchery in the bottom, retaking the one retaking the hatchery in the bottom. He's taking the hatchery in the north. And man, this series is ruining my throat. It's just so exciting. There's so much action between these two. 10,000 resources in the bank for Serral. And it is looking rather destitute for Maru. This base is a lifeline. He can't get the base in the top because of the Lurkers. If this base goes down one more time and he loses this area, he's screwed. But he's scanned, he sees Serral coming, and he's got time to prepare. Widow Mines, Ghosts, Liberators, and unfortunately for him, a planetary that is not finished. There's so little bio. It's almost a pure Liberator defense here. He goes for Parasitic Bombs. Big mistake for Serral. You always want to use Abducts against Liberators because it pulls them out of siege mode. He uses the Parasitic Bombs, he gets defended, and that's a 7,000 resource lost advantage there for Maru. Maru actually just took an amazing fight, and he needed that fight. Serral is remaxing on Hydras, Vipers, Lings. You want to abduct those Liberators out of siege mode. You can still push this home as Serral. If he gets this base in the bottom, it is game over. He sees there's no planetary there. He knows there's one above it. If he just hits that one more time, it's worth even giving up a base. But if he fights front on, he needs a better answer to these Liberators, and the answer is the Spire. Remember the Spire on Radhuset. The Corruptors ruin the Libs. The Corruptors are such a good unit against Liberators, but he does not have those. He's using Hydras, and Liberators beat Hydras once you get to these similar numbers. It's a scary situation. He gives up this base, and he doesn't strike the bottom left. Remember, Maru is dead if he loses this base, but Serral, a little bit too slow to pounce. He's splitting units off right now. Maru finding a way to survive in this game. I don't know how, but he's doing it. Oh, big Widowmine splashy, 20 kills there. Does clean up that Widowmine. Infestor's waiting. He's looking for a catch. He's looking for a fungal. Serral's looking for a fungal. He's got Infestor there. He's got another Infestor in the north as well. It does get scanned. That one does get revealed. There's still a turret alive over here as well. You got to watch out. Parasitic Bomb fungal in the middle of the Libs could be game ending. But now that the Libs are spread out, that's going to be a problem for Serral. If he catches them on the move with the Wombo combo, it's great. He loses another mining base, pulls his drones backwards. Serral's income starting to dip, but Maru is hanging on by a thread. Maru somehow has got the top base up. The bottom base, the SCVs just pull to the planetary, and they return to mining. Very nice moves there by Maru. Single Zergling on that base, cleaned up by a Widowmine. On the south side, he doesn't bother scan to kill those Zerglings. He feels confident that the Liberator can defend that mineral line. 8 Libs on the map, 4 more building. It's Mass Bio Ghost Liberator. And I feel like a mixture of catching the Libs on siege with spells is number 1 for Serral. I think number 2, oh god, that Infestor sneaking past the turret does get spotted. Number 2 is getting some Corruptors out. Or if he can get on top of the Liberators when they're not all siege towards him, the Hydras can do okay. Oh, he sees this army coming. There's Infestor there. That Infestor on the right gets caught by the turret. Alright, Abduct on the south. He's going to take out the bottom base, but it's no longer the lifeline of Maru. He loses a lot of SCVs as well, a costly move. But Serral, he's running out of mining. He's got a big bank. He needs to clear this army one time, pounce on the top base, and it's game over. Saying that, it sounds easy. Doing it, much harder. It's 150 supply of army for Terran. There are so many Liberators. He needs to hit this army from 2 sides. It's as simple as that. He needs a lot of Banelings to be supply efficient, does Serral. And he needs to hit from 2 sides. Banelings on the Ghosts of the Bio, Hydra's coming in from a circle. He cannot attack from just one angle, and he's got to try and land some parasitic bombs if he can catch the Liberators unsieged. Otherwise, simply abduct them. 3 Liberators can abduct 9, or 3 Vipers can abduct 6 Liberators out of this 12, out of siege mode, and then your Hydras can deal with them. But he's got to use those abducts to pull them out of siege mode. Queens and Lurkers in the north. Queens are getting sniped down. He's going to have to pull the trigger. Serral goes for it. Mass Hydra Viper coming in. Good EMPs. He only abducts 1 Liberator. The EMPs for Maru were spectacular. Maru cleanses Serral's army with a righteous fury. 90% of his army was coming from here and here. He needed to come from every angle. The Bio Ghost was in the back. There was not enough to deal with those Liberators. And that was a fantastic execution by Maru. This maxed out, oh, not even maxed out. It's just 150 army supply of Bio Lib smashing through. Serral's out of bank. He's spending his last gas on Mass Lurker Hydra. Lurkers will not deal with these Liberators, but maybe he can counterattack with them. He's got drones hiding all over the map. He has a new base mining down here. He's trying to take gases, but he's already spent all of his mineral bank and most of his gas bank as well. Dude, this is a big problem. He's going to lose all these drones in the top right, leaving him in just a very few units left remaining. Those drones all going to try and burrow. Only a few of them survive. Big counterattack. It's desperation time for Serral. Maru has fought back from the brink of destruction. I actually was convinced Serral had this one in the bag at a few points, but Maru fighting back and fighting for ONSYDE, showing that Serral may be the greatest, but he's not going to be going 3-0 against ONSYDE Gaming. Definitely not. And in fact, Maru, if he can secure this game now, he makes it a 1-1, and that will give him the 4-2 victory. Hydras catch a few more medevacs. There's still 12 ghosts, 17 marauders, 10 marines, 10 liberators. Infestor burrowing forward. He's looking for the big fungal. He's going to try and catch it here, but the scan and the double EMP on the Infestor to remove its energy. Lurkers are going to shoot through the planetary and kill some of the repairing SCVs. Oh, the EMPs on the Vipers! Vipers' energy completely removed! Maru's EMPs were on point! And he seals the deal for ONSYDE. What a legendary victory. We've got to look at that last fight again very quickly and break down the big one over here on the right. what the hell went on in that fight, because that was the game decider. Really, it was. This setup over here, this was it. Let's take a look at this fight one more time and see. I think Serral, if he came from the left with a bunch of Hydras, they could have killed a lot of those. And if Maru wasn't god tier on his EMPs as well. I pressed back and it looks like it rewound me 2 minutes before the fight. Let's just fast forward to that moment. Because he doesn't want to lose these two bases in the top and his queens and lurkers start getting jumped on. He feels he has to attack from the top right. But it does feel like the sort of army where the Ultra Lingbane Corruptor composition actually would have been far better. Small numbers of libs, Hydras are fine, but once they get so many Liberators, they start to gun down the Hydras very quickly, especially if there's some bio in there. The Hydras start to just disappear. And we can see here, at this point in the game, a lot of his army is all on the right, and they're all just going to get choked up here. And he's got a bit of Lingbane on the left, but no Hydras there. And he's got these 3 Vipers, which you'd think, cool, abduct 6 libs, but look at these 3 ghosts on the south. The queens and the lurkers just get wrecked by the bio ghost as it moves up. So they go up, they wreck the bio, the queens and the lurkers. That makes Serral trigger it. His Vipers are a little bit far back. And look at these 3 ghosts. They cloak. EMP lands on both of these Vipers. An abduct lands on his own Overseer. He abducted his own Overseer. And then he gets 1 abduct with this Viper on a Liberator before an EMP lands on it. Oh, so Serral only gets 2 abducts, 1 on his own Overseer with a misclick. And then whilst the Lingbane overwhelms some of the bio, he just does not have the numbers to overwhelm that. And he needs to come in and catch those Liberators facing the wrong direction a little bit. Or he just needed to counterattack. And I really feel at this point, Maru's economy is so fragile, you can afford to wait. The big weakness of this army, and I kept talking about it, is when those Liberators are on the move. This point here, imagine if he caught them with a fungal and a parasitic bomb when they're moving around the map here. How much damage goes down on this? And that's why I think if Serral, this whole game, if we look back on it, it's a lack of counterattacking enough. I think if he went around Maru's army a little bit more, he could have done it. Easier said than done. You're under the pressure of facing Maru. Hats off to Maru for playing like an absolute beast though. And I love that he's using so many Liberators on this new map pool because they're so much more mobile than siege tanks. And it allows him to do these awesome, massive siege pushes. Well played, Maru. GG, well played.